If you keep waking up around 3 a.m. and then struggle to fall back asleep, you're definitely not alone. A lot of people go through this, and there's actually a simple way to deal with it once you understand what's happening inside your body. I've helped thousands of people get back to sleep using a very straightforward approach. But the key isn't just a trick or technique. It starts with understanding why you woke up in the first place. So instead of fighting your body, you start working with it. Now, here's where most people go wrong. The moment they wake up at night, they panic a little and try to force sleep. They lie there, squeeze their eyes shut, and keep repeating in their head, go to sleep, go to sleep. But the more you try to push sleep, the more it slips away. It doesn't work because sleep isn't something you can control through effort or willpower. Most of the time, waking up in the middle of the night happens because your body has shifted into a slightly more alert state. It's not random, and it's not you doing something wrong. It's just your internal systems becoming unbalanced for a moment. To understand this, think of your body as being managed by two main systems that constantly work against each other. On one side, you have your sleep system. This includes your internal body clock, also known as your circadian rhythm, which helps regulate when you feel sleepy and when you feel awake. Alongside that is something called sleep pressure, which builds up the longer you stay awake during the day. The more sleep pressure you have, the more your body naturally pushes you toward rest at night. On the other side, you have your alertness or arousal system. This is what keeps you awake, aware, and responsive during the daytime. It's useful when you need to think, move, or react to things happening around you. The balance between these two systems is what decides whether you stay asleep or wake up in the middle of the night. When the alertness system becomes a little too active at the wrong time, that's when you find yourself awake at 3 a.m., staring at the ceiling, wondering why your sleep suddenly disappeared. When everything in your body is working in balance, your arousal system naturally settles down at night, and your sleep system takes over. But that balance isn't always stable. Sometimes, especially during the night, something shifts and your alertness system becomes more active than it should be. When that happens, it can override your natural sleep drive completely. That's why you can suddenly wake up in the middle of the night without any clear reason. You're tired, you should be sleeping, but your mind feels switched on and your body refuses to relax. Falling back asleep feels impossible in that state. And here's the part most people don't realize. Trying harder to sleep actually backfires. The more you force it, the more your brain reads it as stress. That stress response increases arousal even more, releasing hormones that keep you awake. It's like pressing the accelerator when you're trying to slow the car down for parking. Instead of fighting it, the idea is to use a simple method that gently lowers your arousal levels in both your mind and body so your natural sleep system can take over again. Sleep isn't something you force. It's something you allow to return. But before getting into the technique, there are a few important things you should avoid because they can keep your system stuck in that alert state. First, don't check the clock. The moment you do, your brain starts doing stressful calculations like how many hours are left or how much sleep am I losing, and that alone raises stress levels. Second, avoid your phone completely. The light from the screen signals daytime to your brain, and the content you scroll through stimulates your mind, keeping your alert system active when it should be winding down. Third, try not to get out of bed unless it's absolutely necessary, like needing the bathroom. Moving around too much can wake your system up further instead of helping it settle. Now, before continuing, let's go into the first step of the method. The first step is to calm your nervous system. When you wake up in the middle of the night, your body is often stuck in a mild fight or flight mode, controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. What we want to do is shift that into the parasympathetic state, which is responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. This is the state where your body feels safe enough to fall asleep again. One of the fastest ways to trigger this shift is through controlled breathing. When you breathe deeply into your abdomen, your diaphragm moves in a way that stimulates a major nerve called the vagus nerve. This nerve helps send calming signals throughout your body, slowing your heart rate, lowering blood pressure, and reducing stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. That physical shift is what helps your body move out of wakefulness and back towards sleep. A simple breathing pattern you can use here is the 4-7-8 technique. You start by slowly inhaling through your nose for 4 seconds while gently focusing your mind on the count. Then hold your breath for 7 seconds, staying relaxed and steady. After that, Exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds, letting your body soften with each breath out. Repeat this cycle around 7 to 10 times. After a few rounds, you'll likely notice your heart rate slowing down. Many people also feel a sense of heaviness or warmth spreading through the body, which is a sign that the nervous system is shifting into a more relaxed state. Once that happens, the body becomes more ready for sleep again. The next step focuses on releasing physical tension from the body so you can go even deeper into that relaxed state. If you wake up in the middle of the night and notice you can't fall back asleep, even though you feel exhausted, there's usually a simple reason behind it. Your body is not malfunctioning. It's just stuck in a state where the alert system has become more active than your sleep system. Even when you think you're relaxed, there's a good chance some muscles are still quietly tense, especially in areas like your jaw, shoulders, or stomach. That hidden tension sends a signal to your brain that you're still in an alert, active state. And as long as your brain believes that, it won't fully allow sleep to return. The way to reverse this isn't by forcing sleep, it's by guiding your body out of that alert state step by step. First, there are a few things you really want to avoid in that moment because they keep your brain switched on. Don't look at the clock, because the second you do, your mind starts calculating how many hours are left and how much sleep you're losing, which instantly creates stress. Also, avoid your phone completely. The light alone tells your brain it's daytime, and the content pulls your attention in, keeping your mind active when it should be winding down. And unless it's absolutely necessary, try not to get out of bed, because movement can fully wake your system up instead of calming it down. The first step to getting back to sleep is calming your nervous system. When you wake up at night, your body is often slightly stuck in a fight or flight mode, which is controlled by the sympathetic nervous system. What we want instead is to activate the parasympathetic system, the part responsible for rest, digestion, and recovery. That's the state where your body feels safe enough to fall asleep again. One of the fastest ways to trigger this shift is through slow, controlled breathing. When you breathe deeply into your belly, it stimulates a major nerve in your body called the vagus nerve. This nerve helps send calming signals throughout your system, slowing your heart rate, reducing blood pressure, and lowering stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. As that happens, your body naturally starts moving away from wakefulness. A simple way to do this is by using a 4-7-8 breathing pattern. You inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds, gently focusing on the count. Then you hold your breath for 7 seconds while staying relaxed. After that, you exhale slowly through your mouth for 8 seconds, letting your body soften more with every breath out. Repeating this for several rounds often leads to a noticeable drop in heart rate and a feeling of heaviness or warmth in the body, which is a sign your nervous system is calming down. Once your breathing has settled things, the next step is releasing physical tension from your body. This is where progressive muscle relaxation comes in. The idea is simple. You briefly tense different muscle groups, then fully relax them so your brain can clearly feel the difference between tension and calm. You start with your feet by curling your toes tightly and holding that tension for about 5 seconds, then releasing completely and noticing the difference for a few moments. After that, you move upward: calves, thighs, stomach, hands, arms, shoulders, and finally, your face. Each time, you tense for a few seconds, then let go completely. The whole process takes just a few minutes, but by the end, your body often feels heavy, warm, and deeply relaxed, almost like it's letting go of wakefulness. Now comes the final piece: quieting the mind. A busy, structured mind keeps you awake, but as sleep approaches, thinking naturally becomes more visual and dreamlike. You drift into a lighter, image-based mental state. You can gently guide this process using a technique where you pick a simple, neutral word and work with it in a relaxed way. For example, take a word like blanket. Focus on the first letter and think of a few simple words that start with that letter, like balloon or bridge or butterfly. As each word appears in your mind, briefly picture it without analyzing it. Then move on to the next letter and repeat the process with new simple images. If you reach the end of the word and you're still awake, just choose another word and continue. The purpose here isn't to force sleep at all. It's just to gently occupy your mind with harmless, neutral images until your body naturally drifts off. When you put all of this together, the process becomes simple. You calm your nervous system with slow breathing, release stored tension through muscle relaxation, and gently quiet your mind with simple imagery. These three steps work together to bring your body back into balance so sleep can return naturally. Waking up in the middle of the night doesn't mean something is broken. It's just your body briefly shifting into alertness and checking in on its environment. When you respond with calm instead of frustration, you're basically telling your body everything is safe again, and that's exactly what allows sleep to come back. And if this kind of waking continues regularly, structured approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia are often very effective, helping retrain your sleep patterns over time. The more you understand this process, the less power those 3 a.m. wake ups have over you, and the easier it becomes to simply let sleep return on its own.